Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan with me, like always, is Noah Bailey. So, this past week, James Gunn has officially revealed the title for Superman 2, or at least the sequel to his Superman movie. And as of right now, it is just called Man of Tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah. Um, as soon as I saw that, I first of all, I think that title has a near 100% chance of changing, if not a little, even just like slightly, because Superman was originally called Superman Legacy. Supergirl
Right.
was originally called Supergirl, the Woman of Tomorrow. Now this
Right.
is just Man of Tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if his eventually Superman, the Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Or like super. Yeah. Probably. I think that's probably what it be. Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Just because like you can't just use Superman again. You're probably not gonna use Superman. Just Superman 2. So like yeah, Superman, Man of Tomorrow. I think is gonna be
Yeah.
good.
If you want to be real corny, you could call it Superman of Tomorrow, but that might be a little. Uh,
Uh,
but as soon as I saw that title, I was like, interesting, because I know we've talked about this before, but also a lot of other people, you know, when speculating what a sequel to Man of Steel would be called, the main thing people were predicting would be Man of Tomorrow, Man of Steel sequel to Man of Tomorrow. That just kind of makes sense.
mhm.
Um, and now, not that James Gunn is stealing that, because that's been a moniker of Superman forever. The
Yes.
animated movie back in like 2021 or whatever, that was called Man of Tomorrow. Um, like it's maybe because maybe there's something else we're not seeing yet, because maybe it's not really just Superman. Maybe there's some other element here that's some other man that could be a presumed Man of Tomorrow. I'm not sure, but it's just, I don't know, just a little interesting that, especially considering the main reason why I genuinely believe that Man of Steel didn't take off like it, maybe should have, if people, some people like did like that movie. The As far as like the general population is concerned, the main reason that movie didn't really take off the way that I feel like maybe could have was because Superman wasn't in the title.
Mm.
And now that Superman is the modest success, not like the smash hit people were hoping for. It definitely didn't break $1 billion, but it's over 600 million at this point. I genuinely think it's maybe definitely a weird choice to have the sequel not have Superman in the title.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like I think again for the comic book person, for the people who know characters, yeah, when you hear like Man of Tomorrow, it's like, oh yeah, Superman, but it's like again, Man of Tomorrow sounds like I feel like there's probably a movie called Man of Tomorrow that has nothing to do with Superman. Like it sounds like a very generic movie name with like
Yeah, like some kind of time
anybody,
travel element, or like $1 million
sounds
man, that
like
kind of thing.
sounds like a Tom Cruise movie you haven't seen, but you feel like you have. Like, you know what I
Edge
mean?
of
Like,
Tomorrow. Yeah.
right? It's like it's
Huh.
kind of like it feels like it could be misconstrued as something else. So I think they will put that Superman on just because, like, I mean, it just is a good idea to put the name of a very notable character in the front just so everyone knows, and B, like, yeah, why not? Like, there's no
Yeah.
reason not to.
And even if Superman kind of like splits like top billing for this next movie, presumably, I don't think that's not a good enough reason not to have him in the title, because there were a lot of other characters in a movie just called Superman. Not that I think Guy Gardner or Mr. Terrific took away from Superman in that movie, but like, you know, like that movie could, if you call that movie Super Friends, I think it would also be technically accurate. Um,
Probably.
like Superman is definitely the main character, but there's a lot of other characters in it that aren't Superman characters. So I think you could very easily get away with calling this Superman Man of Tomorrow, even if he isn't necessarily the only main character. Now, on the flip side, there have been people making reasonable comparisons to what Christopher Nolan did back in the 2000s with Batman Begins and then The Dark Knight.
Right.
However, I feel even at that point, The Dark Knight is just a little more obvious of a name for him. Like he's literally dressed in all black or dark gray. Like it just feels more like visual. Maybe it's just me, but just visually, it just makes. I feel like that connection is way easier to make for Batman than something like Man of Steel or Man of Tomorrow for Superman. And also, like you already have stuff like The Dark Knight Returns. That was like one of
Yes.
the most popular Batman comics ever. So to the point where even by the mid 2000s, like kind of just cultural osmosis, you might just even know that Batman is called that just from that one comic alone. Whereas, yeah, there might be a comic called The Man of Tomorrow, but it's not nearly as iconic as, or at least it's not
Mm.
as iconically tied to Superman as The Dark Knight is to Batman.
Yeah, agreed. And also too, like I think the reason like the Dark Knight works is because I think also, yeah, like you said, it's more notable, and that's like his preferred. It's like that's like the number one like nickname for Batman. It's also like the Cape Crusader, but like nobody
Mm.
really. I feel like that's more that you think of more Adam West Batman than you would think of
Yeah,
like the Christian Bale. But I feel like I feel like Man of Steel is fun because I feel like that's the equivalent to Dark Knight. But yeah, I feel like Man of Tomorrow is very like obscure. And not obscure, but like for the non-initiated, I feel like that's a pretty obscure name. It's like,
yeah,
like if they made a Flash movie and they were just like, "Ooh, Scarlet Speedster," and everyone would be like, "What is that?" No
yeah,
one's gonna know. Like, yeah, like we're not. We need like unless it is like in the name, most people aren't gonna know like the most unless it's like the most iconic nickname. It's gonna be people are gonna just so they'll probably just add
yeah,
Superman on as it gets closer to the date.
yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Which speaking of the date, it is officially, as of now, going to be releasing in July of 2027.
It's gonna be such a packed year,
Like, he's releasing weeks after Beyond the Spider Verse, which
allegedly.
is crazy.
Yes, like that's what was that? I mean, 2027 is going to be insane. So we've got that. We've got the Batman Part Two. We've got like, I
uh-huh.
mean, 2027 is
Secret
going to
Wars is
be.
also
Say
possibly going to happen.
right, right.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think.
next year we have Supergirl, Spider Man,
Mhm.
Clayface, probably, and Avengers Doomsday.
Yep.
So that's
Which
already
is weird that that's next year.
right.
We're
Didn't
already in
go
September, which is we're kind of in the
like
near the
it's
we're near that fourth quarter of the year.
like it's filming. We like I mean the first trailer for Endgame came out less than 6 months before that movie released. So I wouldn't be surprised if they wait until like next Comic Con or like did whatever like
Probably.
D20 whatever D23 whatever like big nerdy celebration that will show up at in the summer. We're probably gonna wait till then because it's coming out next December. Actually, right now the same day as Doom Part 3, which is oh boy.
Yeah.
um. So yeah, July of 2027 is especially funny because that means that within the time that um between the Batman and the Batman Part Two, we're going to be getting two Superman movies and also a Supergirl movie
Yep. Yep.
that don't technically have anything to do with that Batman. Probably,
Probably. Most likely not.
yeah,
Yeah. There's a lot going on there. And then, I mean, I mean, even next, because I mean, next year is also going to be big. Because I mean, you're gonna have, we're gonna have that whole Clayface thing. We're gonna have,
The Lantern
and
show.
then like, yeah, like lanterns. That's gonna be probably. I mean, maybe. I don't know if they talked anymore about Future Commandos making another comeback, but
That's that sequel. That show is happening. Um,
I don't
I
know
don't know.
when do we.
I mean, James Gunn is hard at work with Man of Tomorrow. I wouldn't be
Everything.
surprised if, yeah, like, then again, he did write Peacemaker season 2 and Superman back to back. So
Yeah, I forgot about yeah, Peacemaker. Yeah.
yeah, which is bad
Well, I
because
mean,
people are liking that.
yeah, I mean, so a lot. I mean, I feel it's kind of wild because I feel like on the DC side, it's kind of like, okay, cool. Like we're starting here. We're starting with Superman, which leads into Supergirl. Then we'll have Superman again, which is probably going to lead into something else with that Lantern show, which we already kind of saw Guy Gardner. So that kind of leads into that.
Hmm.
And then I feel like with Marvel, it's like, all right, here's like 10 things. And none of them have intersected at any point except kind of the after credit
Thunderbolts.
scene from Thunderbolts, but not really.
Yeah.
And then Doomsday. And it's like, what? It's like, how are we? I mean, I guess if that movie's just like, but unless they make that movie just like a whole setup, a whole exposition movie, which is kind of a waste of a movie for Secret Wars, then it's like, what are we doing? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Because I'm like, unless Spider Man is gonna like
I
explain and interconnect
doubt it.
everything somehow, which I extremely doubt.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. But one thing that I think is very important we need to mention about Man of Tomorrow is when it was revealed, James Gunn, David Corenswet, and Nicholas Hoult all simultaneously released artwork that's like teasing what the movie's going to be about. And in all three of those, it was Superman next to Lex Luthor in his big dumb green suit.
Yes.
James Gunn released one of them just kind of next to each other, and the other two had them like fighting from like different perspectives, so with different artworks too, which I thought was very very nice.
Yeah.
So at some point in Man of Tomorrow, we're going to get that finally see Superman fight
Uh,
Luthor
you
in that big dumb green suit.
you wanted that for so
So
long.
long. Ever since the early 2000s, with the when the Just League cartoon introduced me to that big dumb green suit, I have loved that big dumb green suit.
Oh,
However,
burrito.
this is kind of
Oh,
something I've been ruminating on for a little while now. Um, one kind of aspect of the Superman movie that I've kind of struggled with is there were a couple of aspects of that movie that almost kind of made, even though this is like the first introduction to this new DC world, there was a couple of different things that made the movie feel, or really the universe feel a little smaller than I think they should have gone out the gate. One of them being uh, Lex Luthor establishing that, or in that like council room, establishing that all of the kryptonite on the planet supposedly has been rounded up and gotten rid of.
hmm.
I feel like either that's going to be retcon to be like, oh, actually Lex Luthor has it or knows where some is or whatever.
He like had it in the like pocket dimension or whatever, so they thought it was all gone.
Yeah, but if that's the case, why would he need Metamorpho to make it for him? Um, or they could be, oh, something that happened in Supergirl causes more kryptonite to come here or something.
Maybe.
Because as of right now, typically kryptonite powers a lot of Lex Luthor's tech. So if there's no
And
kryptonite,
Metallo.
yeah, exactly, Amatelo. So either that suit is just gonna be, you know, a big suit that Superman can't punch hard for some reason, or it's retcon and it is powered by kryptonite somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna find a way because, like, not having kryptonite in the universe is just not gonna. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna work, but like, it's too iconic not to have it long term. So, like, maybe
Mm-hmm.
he'll like, I don't know, maybe he had Metamorpho like make a bunch of it while he was in prison just to have it
Yeah.
on file, or or maybe they find it in another dimension. I mean, who knows? But I mean, there's going to be some, or maybe they'll use red sun radiation instead, or
That could definitely
I
work.
don't know.
But yeah, it's just gonna be so satisfying seeing this Superman fight this Luthor, like actually having this Luthor be able to
Mhm.
punch him himself. Like that just
I think it'd be funny too. Yeah, because it's like, he's actually like fighting it himself, and like he's still doing, he like in his head, he's still doing like the sequences, and he like knows the thing.
hmm
No, I think, and this Luthor would work perfectly because he's the type, he's like, you know what? If I gotta do it myself, I will. I don't care. Like,
hmm
something about doing it with your own bare hands just feels better anyway. Like,
Yeah.
that definitely be exciting.
mm
Very, very comic booky. I love it.
Yeah. And I kind of like because he already established that he knows all of Superman's moves. I can see one of two things happening. Either Superman is going to specifically in the next movie like noticeably change up his fighting style to kind of throw Luthor off. That way, when they are fighting, it's not like they're more evenly matched because Luthor isn't able to just predict everything he does, or the exact opposite. And because Luthor knows exactly what he's going to do, he's like basically just gonna be in control that entire fight. Just like while Superman is like doing his predictable punches, Luthor's like dodging or blocking, and like all while Superman just getting weaker and weaker, not knowing how. Then actually the suit's powered by kryptonite, and then bang, whatever.
Mm.
Um, yeah, just the potential of that fight is just so
What we
enticing.
want.
Yeah,
Oh, it'd be great. It's like they're fighting in the middle, and then like something worse happens, and then we have to
yeah.
like put aside our differences
Yeah,
for
like I'm
now.
thinking probably Brainiac. I feel
Yeah,
like something at the end
definitely.
of Supergirl is gonna tease Brainiac like off in space, and then like at
Yeah,
the end she's gonna like rush back to Earth, and then like he's gonna show up, and then like all three of them are gonna fight Doomsday or that Brainiac together. I think that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
which
like,
also
listen, it's
could
our.
lead to more kryptonite being on the Earth if Brainiac has like the bottled city of Candor, I think is what it's called.
Ooh, yeah, Candor.
Yeah, either that explodes or that's released or something, and then kryptonite is,
Yeah, he has
back there.
kryptonite on it. Yeah, because technically, all of Candor would basically be kryptonite as far as like,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, that's, and then like, yeah, like Lex gets his hands on it, and all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. I I'm very, as you know, I'm very much like, as long as the characters are good,
Right.
the story can kind of take not whatever shape, but the story can be very flexible and it'll still work. So I'm really
Mhm.
excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like having to only wait 2 years for a sequel is
Impressive.
weirdly novel at this point because we had that for Spider-Man for a while, and there was a I guess 5 year break between movies at this point. Um, but most movies nowadays seem to not get sequels right away, especially superhero stuff. So
Yeah.
like having that July date locked in at least for right now, like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we've got Supergirl coming the year before, and then we're going right into Superman 2. And it's like,
hmm
okay, we're doing this. Like,
yeah.
I
And
love
I
that.
am personally of the opinion of like I don't really care who wins between Beyond the Spider Verse and Man of Tomorrow because I, as a nerd, like all superheroes. So I like, oh wow, two cakes. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't have to be better or worse, or, oh, which one deserves it. It's like, why don't they just both be awesome?
mhm,
Problem
yeah.
solved.
I think I'm probably gonna like Beyond the Spider Verse more just because I really, really like that Spider-Man world and like that animation and just everything about those movies are pretty much flawless. Um, but I think Man of Tomorrow also is probably going to be pretty good. And at least as good as the first Superman, I hope.
Yeah, most
Like that
likely.
quite a bit. Yeah.
I'm also really excited to see how Supergirl does too.
Yeah. I think that movie is probably, honestly, is probably going to make a good amount less money than than Superman, just because Supergirl is a less known commodity. It's honestly being released in an even more packed summer. I know is releasing a week or two after Toy Story 5. There's one or two other movies coming out around that time as well. Spider-Man releasing 2 weeks after. Um, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if that movie gets buried even more than Superman did. That movie really only had two movies competing with it on either side, and Supergirl, you know, might have even harder time creating its own little niche that summer. But I'm hoping the movie itself will be pretty good.
Yeah, I think it will.
Okay, now before we move on to the next story here, I have a little game for you.
Oh,
Time to do something we haven't done in a hot minute. Wait, is that for real? This is another rendition of where I am going to. So the topic of this is once again Pokemon evolution methods because
oh
there are
boy.
so many ridiculous ones. I'm just curious to see if you can suss out which of these are real, which are fake.
I'm so crazy about. Didn't you say there was one you had to like literally go outside, and it like could sense that you were outside?
No, that's not actually. There isn't actually one like that. It'd be funny. Um,
Oh my gosh.
but I mean, there's one you can literally only evolve in Pokemon Go and transfer it in. Well, you can't get it otherwise. Um, okay,
Mm,
so first one here, Rabsca. It's the Scarab Beetle Pokemon from Gen 9. It
okay.
evolves after you take 1,000 steps with Raylor, the Dung Beetle Pokemon. It's 1,000 steps with Raylor out of its ball. You know, they have like the like walk around mechanic in those games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One. No way. 1,000 way too many. There's no way it's that. Is that it? That's not real.
So it's technically slightly more complicated than what I have here, but
More
1,000 is correct.
of him like walking around, like when you press R and they just walk next to you, and you just
Yeah,
1,000.
a
Who has
thousand
time for
steps.
that?
There are three Pokemon that have this evolution mechanic. Rabsca, Palmot, and Brambleghast. Brambleghast being the tumbleweed Pokemon. And when I was doing my first playthrough, I had a Palmo on my team, and it evolves after you. I learned how it evolved, and then you just gotta let it walk around for 1,000 steps. And every time I was going somewhere, I would just have it out, and then it'd walk with me. I got in a train battle, it would go back, and then just kind of. I was under the impression that it was 1,000 collective steps. No, apparently it's 1,000 steps in one
I,
sequence.
what? How long would that even take?
A while. It
That's
took a while.
ridiculous.
There was like some tricks you could do to make it like there's a way you can like get up on top of a Pokemon Center and it can just kind of like run in a circle below you. But like but the fact that
That's
you have to like
ridiculous, though.
I
Like, okay,
agree.
first of all, like
Mhm.
that would take so much time
Yes.
because 1,000 steps in one go without it.
Mhm.
Because don't they jump in if you like go anywhere too fast or something?
Yes.
Like
They're slower than the player moves.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So it's
Uh,
like, how are you? That's ridiculous.
I agree. Um, yeah, like especially since you can only do one at a time. So if you had all three in your team, you had to do this three different times. Walk 3,000 steps with these things.
No, that's not
No,
worth it.
No,
at all.
yeah. So
I'm not doing. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I just be like, you know what? Sorry, didn't catch them all.
uh,
We tried. We
whatever.
tried. We didn't catch them all. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it. There's no way I'm doing for 3 different Pokemon.
Mm,
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Like
Did you
Pepsi are
get?
pretty cool. Hmm?
Did you get those?
I got Palmot, and then I didn't. I've never used the other two because I couldn't be asked.
Oh,
I played this game 4 times, never touched Ramblecast, never touched Rabsca. They're cool enough to like use in a vacuum, but I'm not putting the effort to actually get one.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, next. Frostlass. Use a Dawnstone on any snow runt.
That feels too easy. Is that true? Or is that's
What,
vague?
what do you want to lock in?
I'm gonna say no.
You got it. So keep in mind with
Yeah.
all of these, it's every single word in the sentence has to be completely
Right.
accurate. So the Dawnstone is accurate. It evolves from snow runt, but only female snow runts evolve into Frostlass.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. In Gen 4, the only two Pokemon that have ever evolved with a Dawnstone, um, uh, they're both gender-based evolutions. Snorunt, it either evolves at I believe 42 into Glalie, regardless, or if it's female, you can use a Dawnstone on it. Same with
Hmm.
Curlia, it evolves into Gardevoir at level 30, or male ones can evolve into Gallade.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, you got that one right.
Okay. Well, that's good.
All right. Magmar. In order to get a Magmar, you have to level up Magby after it reaches a high enough friendship value.
High enough what?
Friendship value. Magby, you level up a Magby after it reaches high enough friendship.
I feel like I've had that one. I don't think so. I'm gonna say no.
That's right. Um, a lot of the baby Pokemon introduced in Gen 2 use the new friendship mechanic. Magby and Elekid, I think Smoochum, uh, they evolve just at level 30. For some reason they do, but Igglybuff, Pikachu, Cleffa, Togepi even, they all evolve with friendship, but not Magby.
That's yeah. That's yeah. I don't remember that. It's one of the few ones I actually had.
Yeah. Um, okay. Next, Incineroar.
Hmm.
Incineroar evolves when Torracat reaches level 34.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's probably a different level.
No, that's right. Um,
Nope.
for some
That's it.
reason,
Yeah.
most starter Pokemon get their final evolution at level 36. They've tinkered with that a
Right.
little bit, but in Gen 7, they decided to go with 34 for some reason.
For all of them.
All three of them, yeah.
Yeah, because isn't usually like 12, 20 something, and then 36 or something like that,
So
or
the
or something like
standard
that.
evolution level, the standard evolutionary level is 16, then 36.
Okay, 16.
There are times when that is different. Um, Gen 2, they did this weird thing where Totodile evolved into Crocodile at 18, then evolved into Froggator at 30. Chikorita evolves into uh, Bayleaf at 30 at 16, and then in Meganium at 32. And then Quilava evolves at 14 and then 36. And then like a couple of other times they've had grass type specifically evolve at 32, but Gen 3, 5, 6, 9, all three of them evolve at 36 to their final form. In Gen 8 it was weirdly 35. That was weird.
Hmm.
I was ever like playing through the game with my Thwack. He got to 35. And like, oh, it's almost time to evolve, and then it did evolve at 35. Like that's weird, but
That's
yeah.
weird.
Yeah, in Gen uh, uh, 7, they evolved with 34.
Hmm.
Okay, next. And if you want to just Google what this Pokemon looks like, be my guess.
Okay.
Alomomola.
Alone. Alone.
Alomomola.
Oh. Okay.
It
Fish.
evolves from a love disc while knowing the move Heal Pulse. So you just level up a love disc while it knows the move Heal Pulse. You need to Google what love disc looks like too. You can if you want.
Oh yeah. This looks so weird.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna say I feel like this is a trick question. I feel like it's a different move. So I'm gonna say no. Oh.
There's no relation at all. Love disc does not evolve into
They
Alomomola.
don't even, yeah, they don't
No.
even they're two different Pokemon.
They're two different heart-shaped sunfish Pokemon that are
That's
just
kind of what I was
pink,
thinking. I
yet
was like,
completely unrelated.
I feel like they forgot they made this one, and then they were like, "Oh, oops."
Like they serve completely different functions. Love Disc is absolutely trash, but has like kind of good speed. Alola Mola is actually like a pretty defensive tank almost. Like doesn't have much attacking power, but has really good HP and defenses. And it does have
Hmm.
a like healing motif. It has all of its abilities involve healing. Has a lot of healing based moves, but and Love Disc can learn Heal Pulse, but it doesn't it can't evolve. Even though it probably should evolve into this thing, it can't.
Yeah, this looks like the first level of an evolution.
Yep.
Uh,
You can't even
that's
find
weird.
Love Disc until the near end of Ruby and Sapphire, and it's absolutely terrible.
Oh, it's crazy. Okay, so I'm doing pretty good. I think I've only missed one
You
or two. I think.
missed you missed 2 out of 5 so far.
Okay, hey, I'll take that.
Yep. Number 6, Magnezone. You use a Thunderstone on Magneton.
That feels simple enough, but I think that's right.
Technically, yes. So in from generation 4 through 7, there were a couple of different Pokemon that had location based evolutions. For example, Magnezone in generation 4 evolved when he leveled up a Magneton in Mount Coronet. And then in every other generation they had some kind of area that was like magnetic or electrically charged or something like that. That way, every time you could have somewhere to evolve your Magneton. And then in Generation 8, they realized that was stupid, so we'll just have it evolve with Thunderstone.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, because it's like, yeah, they were like, let's not make it complicated. That felt very like easy, but I was like, you know what? Like some of these are probably easy on purpose. I'm like, yeah, I'll just go with this one. But like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it used to be complicated, but now it's not.
Mhm. Okay. Next up, we have Chimecho. Chimecho evolves when you level up a Chingling after it reaches a high enough friendship value at night.
That's not.
Evolves from Chingling specifically if it levels up at
Yeah,
night with a high enough friendship value.
it feels. I want to say it feels too specific, but this is also Pokemon, so I'm like, maybe it's. Mm, I'm gonna say no. There's too many variables in there. This one of those got to be wrong.
No, that's actually right. Yeah, that is it's correct.
Okay, well, never mind.
I thought
Yeah,
about
I'll take
switching night
this.
for day, but no, it's night for some reason.
Just work. So you have to do it at night. So what happens if you do it at the day? Do you
It just
just wait
doesn't
till
evolve.
nighttime?
It just like you have to level it up at night. Like if it levels up during the day, then it turns night. Nothing happens. You have to level it up at nighttime.
So you could just never do it. It just never happens. You don't know why. You'd be level 99. And then
That's correct. Yes,
so wait, do Pokemon once do they go above 99 or do they just stop at 99?
they go to 100 and then stop at 100. In
Oh, okay.
Gen, I think it might be 8, but I know it for a fact in Gen 9, if you have a Pokemon at level 100 that it evolves through level up, if you give it a rare candy, it'll still be able to evolve even if it's at level 100.
Oh, okay.
But
So
until
it's
that
not
point,
locked
they're
forever.
just screwed. Like if you get a level 100 Magikarp, it can never become a Gyarados.
Hmm. Oh yeah, we have level 90 and level 100 Magikarp that probably doesn't need it.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, Chingling is one of those Pokemon that is absolutely terrible. That is a random baby Pokemon that evolves into another Pokemon that is also not great. Like Chimecho isn't terrible, but it doesn't do anything special, and it's not like it definitely isn't good enough to warrant a baby form. Like how Snorlax, yeah, they could probably have a baby form, but Chimecho is not good enough to warrant that. So yeah, if you had a Chingling up to like level 50, and you're like, what does the thing do? I don't know. I'm just gonna box it. Like there's like if you don't play literally after 8 p.m. real time, you would just never know that it that it evolved at all.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
Umbreon. In order to evolve an
Ooh.
Umbreon, you have to use a Dusk Stone on an Eevee.
I know this is one of the most popular ones, and I feel like that is right because I feel like with Eevee, isn't it just whatever stone you use, that's the evolution you get? So I feel like that's right,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Here's the really dumb thing about Eevee. You're not completely incorrect. The first three were stone evolutions. Thunderstone Jolteon, Firestone Flareon,
Yeah.
Waterstone Vaporeon.
Yes.
And then in
Yes.
Generation 2, for some reason, I guess they wanted to emphasize the new day night cycle. So now, and also the friendship mechanic. So now Eevee evolves into Espeon or Umbreon at a high friendship, depending on if it's day or night. Espeon during the day, Umbreon at night. And then in Gen 4, they wanted to highlight location based evolution. So Leafeon evolves if it levels up around a mossy rock area, and then Glaceon evolves if it's around a ice stone up in the mountain area. And then in Gen 6, they had this like touch screen mechanic you do between battles to raise their affection, which gives Pokemon in battle boosts. So if you gave an Eevee enough affection and then it also knowing a fairy move, it would evolve into Sylveon. But then
Hmm.
in Gen 8, when they adjusted how Magneton evolved, they were also like, hey, let's maybe readjust some of these so they could actually evolve with stones. So let's make Glaceon and Leafeon evolve with the Ice Stone and the Leaf Stone. And then they stopped. They didn't change the other three. Even though the Dawnstone or Sunstone for that matter for Espeon exist, Duskstone or Moonstone for Umbreon exist, and then Shiny Stone for Sylveon. Nope. We're just gonna make all three of those now friendship mechanics evolving under different circumstances. So at no point does Umbreon ever evolve with a stone,
Huh?
right? Isn't that weird?
That makes no sense. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
I
literally
should.
changed the evolution mechanics for other evolutions, but not all eight of them. I don't
Well,
know.
that's kind of my thing. It's like why change only some of them,
Yeah, I don't know.
but then make them really like make some very easy and then some extremely
Mhm.
complicated.
Yeah, especially with Eevee evolving into Sylveon, it has to have a high friendship knowing a fairy move. So if you specifically want an Espeon, and let's say it knows the move Charm, which is a fairy move, if you level it up during the day at high friendship, no matter what, it'll evolve into a Sylveon because it knows a fairy move. Even if you wanting an Espeon, so you specifically level it up during the day. So there's still like a weird overlap with those three being confusing when you could just get rid of it completely and just do Shiny Stone for Sylveon, Moonstone for Umbreon, Sunstone for Espeon, or some stone for all three of those. But yeah,
That's weird. Okay.
yeah, that was yeah, that was a tricky one. I'm kind of proud of that one. Number 9, Cleavor. Cleavor evolves when you trade a Scyther holding a hard stone. Just to give you some context here, um, Scyther evolves into Scizor when it's traded holding a metal coat. So
Gosh.
does Scyther evolve into Cleavor when you trade it holding a hard stone?
So, but only when holding. Okay, wait, can you say the whole thing one more time? Sorry.
Cleavor evolves when you trade a Scyther holding a hard stone. And Cleavor is a
You know
rock
what?
bug type.
Yeah. You know what? Just because it's dumb, I'm gonna say yes. Because how would anyone ever figure that out?
So it should be that. It really, really should be that. That would make things way easier. But
That would
nope,
be that's the easy version?
that's the easy version. So Cleavor is like basically a variant of Scyther introduced in Pokemon Legends Arceus. It is still an evolution of Scyther, but for some reason they have Cleavor's evolution locked behind a specific item that is only found in that Legends Arceus region called the Black Agarite. Not sure why. It's basically like a regular evolution stone where you like use this Black Agarite on Scyther and evolves into Cleavor. And then in Generation 9, in the DLC, when they reintroduced Cleavor into the game, they the only way to get one is by catching one in the wild. It's available like in an area of the, the like DLC area that's specifically rich with Black Augurite for some reason, but there's no like actual physical Black Augurite item you can pick up. I don't know why. Um, but yeah, they also didn't work backwards and make Scizor. They didn't change his evolutionary method to kind of match this either. It's
Mm-hmm.
Scizor is still trade with Metal Coat, which makes me think it makes just as much sense to have Scyther be traded with a hard stone evolving a Cleavor. I think that would just make things way easier. Or, just cut out the trade and just have, give Scyther a metal coat and have it level up and evolves into Scizor. Give Scyther a hard stone level up, evolves into Cleavor. That'd be fine. But no, Black Augurite.
Hmm. So how does anyone find these out? Like, because I'm like, what? Why would you do? When would you even do that?
um, I want to say in Legends Arceus, the, there's either someone that gives one to you or they make a big deal out of this being how Scyther evolves. But in future games, if that item does actually come back, I have literally no idea how you're supposed to know that's how it evolves. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, I guess that makes sense, but still.
Hmm. Okay. Last one here, number 10. Another Legend Arceus evolution here. Weirdeer. It evolves after you have a Stantler use the move Psy Shield Bash 20 times.
You know what? Because I'm gonna say it's not enough. They're probably made it 100 or something. So I'm gonna say
No,
no.
20 is enough. That's
20.
plenty.
Okay.
Yeah, it is 20.
Okay. Okay, well,
So
isn't there?
here
So, so that is true.
it is true. However, um,
However,
for some ridiculous reason, even though Stantler is in Scarlet and Violet, which came out after Legends Arceus,
mm-hmm.
and Stantler can technically learn Psyshield Bash from breeding with the Weird I guess. There is no way to evolve a Stantler into a Weird in Scarlet and Violet. You have to transfer it from Legends Arceus to Pokemon Home into Scarlet and Violet. They just didn't include an evolutionary method for Stantler into Weird in Scarlet and Violet, despite Stantler being a very early encounter. I think it would be pretty cool to, have this Pokemon for a good portion of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's always annoyed me. Like they removed it from its base move set, and then like it is literally in the code. You can use it in battle, but you can't. Like if you were just playing Scarlet and Violet normally, there'd be no way to get a Weird despite it definitely existing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like even if you do teach your Stantler the egg move, Psyshield Dash, there's no way to actually evolve it. Can't tell you why.
That doesn't.
Doesn't make sense. You're right.
What?
I don't know.
Okay. These are like severely complicated, but then like weirdly finicky at the same time.
Yep.
Like it's
Mm.
like this only works if you do this, but only if you do this way,
Yes.
but not this way. But what if I do it that way? No. It's
And it's
like, but
not
if
like
that's this,
they
yes, but
like,
no.
oh, maybe they got rid of that evolutionary mechanic. No. Primeape evolves into Annihilate after using Rage Fist 20 times. In the DLC, they have Hisui and Quillfish evolve into Overquill. I believe it's still the same by using its signature move, Barbarage, 20 times. So that mechanic is still in the game. They just didn't include it for Stantler, which is a Pokemon that desperately needs an evolution, and it got one, and now it can't actually do it anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, right over.
Okay. Oh. Is that all of them?
That's all of them. Yeah, yeah, you're pretty good
Okay.
actually. All things,
Okay.
all
See,
things
that's what I'm saying.
considered.
I'm getting better because it's like
Yeah.
you got to realize like they're all weird, but
Mm-hmm.
like what's
All
the
weird.
weirdest?
Yeah, and like for the
Like,
record, most of these were trick questions. Like I specifically made these more complicated than I
mm-hmm.
probably should have. Like,
Right. So I'm like, okay, I gotta like figure out how to like, because a couple of them are just like, yep, that's just how you do it, and I'm just like, ah,
and your intuition
like,
was
oh,
correct with Umbreon. It should be a stone evolution, but it's just not.
right. Well, that's it, because I played Gen 1 and I remember like, oh, I'm gonna use a water stone and they'll get Vaporeon, and like, yeah, like that's how you do it with all of them, right?
No,
Yes, but no.
not really.
Like, oh no, and here's why.
All right, moving back over to topics. Um, Hollow Knight Silksong is a game that has been one of those like mythical games that people genuinely thought would never come out. It was
Mm-hmm.
Hollow Knight, I believe, came out in 2017, and then Silksong was announced the very next year as like a essentially as an expansion for Hollow Knight, like a DLC type thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
Radio Silence for maybe the year later, maybe I think in 2019 they like basically re-revealed it as like, oh, it got bigger than we expected, so we're making it its own game. And there was a demo of it at that E3 2019. And then Radio Silence for 3 years. And
Yeah.
then in 2022 at Xbox's E3 20 or whatever they called it, the Xbox presentation thing in 2022, because E3 was dead by that point. They they made the boldest and also dumbest claim I've ever heard a video game company make, where they said, like, after the first trailer happened, they were like, and we're pleased to announce that every game you see today will be released within 12 months from today. Um, yeah, no.
That didn't happen.
First of all, like, for as far as like their own first party stuff goes, Starfield, that was there. Originally at the time was going to release in November of 2022. Mere weeks later, it got delayed to the following September. So that's already out of there. I think it was like delayed to May so they could arbitrarily keep that. Like, no, actually, we did push it to like a little bit later.
Yeah, we couldn't
So
even like.
yeah, Silksong was also at that direct, and someone specifically tweeted at the Xbox account like, "Okay, Silksong is finally released or revealed. Like, is it true that this game is coming out within the next 12 months?" And then the official Xbox Twitter responded to that saying, "We said what we said." That was 3 years ago.
I love how they're so like, yeah, we're gonna do it. We're awesome, and then it's just like, so about that.
I'm gonna hope you forget about.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, you mean that very public announcement? Yeah, we remember. We were all there.
Yeah, and then radio silence again until randomly the middle of the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation. It was just like
Yep.
they're in the montage of random indie games coming sometime this year. It had a vague 2025 release date. Literally 3 seconds of footage, and then there it goes on to the next thing. It's like, okay, I guess okay. The next time we saw it was when Microsoft announced their stupid ROG Xbox Ally X thing, handheld thing at their summer presentation, and they revealed it like with the game playing on it being Silksong. And the way they tried to phrase it, it's like, and you saw that right. Uh, when this game, like this, or like the way they phrased it sounded as if Silksong would be a like launch exclusive for this thing. It's like it'll be there day and date when the Xbox ROG Ally X releases. Spoiler alert: the Xbox ROG Ally X isn't out yet, but yet Silksong is. So really, it's just because it's on Game Pass, it'll be playable on this thing when it comes out. Like, okay, why do you gotta be so complicated about it? You just say it's on Game Pass, and that's on this thing. And then that was like back in June or July, and then again, radio silence until like the last week of August. They're like, oh, by the way, 2 weeks. It'll be out in 2 weeks. Like what? Yes, it'll be out on September 4th. Okay.
What? It's like, thanks.
And like a
Okay.
bunch of other indie studios were like, wait, but we were going to release a game on that day. I guess we should not now. Like one guy, one game that's being released, that was being released on that day, though, is being developed by like one or two people. They pushed it back till next March just to be safe. um, so yeah, it was finally announced to have an actual release date. People still didn't believe it existed until it was like actually out. And then when it released on September 4th, every single uh this is a digital only game by the way, every single game store, like digital game store, crashed instantly. The Switch eShop couldn't update, Steam crashed, PlayStation crashed, the Game Pass crashed, like you couldn't play your like free, like the internet was just out for like 20 minutes on these things because so many people were trying to buy Silksong. And then finally, after the dust settled, people actually got to play it, and it apparently a very, very good game. So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, it looks that indie style. It just looks really awesome. I mean, And it's like when the game's been hyped up for this long, and then we kind of like, oh, it's coming. Oh, it's not. Oh, no, it is. It's like, all right, well, let's get it before they change their mind.
Yeah, like we've had 7 years to it. Like I played a little bit of Hollow Knight. I thought it was fine. I just didn't. It didn't grab me like I hoped it would. Maybe another try would be better, but um, like I'm very happy for all the people that are finally getting to play Silksong, and I'm also very happy for the developers of this game because since they are a small indie studio like who have a overwhelmingly massive success that is Hollow Knight. The first one apparently sold over 15 million units, which is almost unheard of for any indie game.
Mm-hmm.
They could literally afford to take their time making the sequel to that. And in interviews, when they were asked, "Oh, so what gives? What took so long to make this game?" They literally said, "Oh, we just had so much fun making it that we didn't want to stop. we just."
I mean, listen, keep the passion going. That's what keeps the games awesome.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, like these are the kinds of stories that I think just make the gaming industry just very special. Like it's interesting the energy around this game is so different than something like let's say Elder Scrolls 6, which was announced
Mm.
around like I think the same year as this game actually in 2018, and people are just at this point just kind of not like they're not like done, but they're just kind of like they don't even care at this point. Whereas this game, every single time there was any kind of presentation, whether it be Nintendo Direct, an Indie Direct, a PlayStation, a Microsoft, like anywhere that this game could even possibly be announced, the chat is just flooded with Silksong. We want Silksong. Like where's Silksong? Like I'm honestly a little concerned. Like what are the people going to do now that it's actually out? What's the next game we got to wait for? I don't know. Um, you don't hear that fervor for the next Elder Scrolls, at least to that extent, even though it is a much more storied and much more theoretically much more popular franchise. People just don't seem nearly as energized for that actual big budget, corporate backed, massive game that the Silk Song was made, but like 10 guys in a in like just a little studio. Like I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, especially, and it's really good stuff. It's like if we're making good games, we're making them passionately. We're not putting them behind these weird paywalls and all the games half done when we release it and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to go for it.
Yeah, yeah. It's also only $20, so
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
yeah.
which is again green flag because it's like we're not doing this for the money. We're doing it for the love of the game, which I love,
Yes,
literally.
like they easily could have sold this for 50 or even I think they could maybe get away with even 70 on this game just because it is as lengthy as it is as quality as it is.
Yeah.
They're
No,
literally
I
throwing away millions, if not billions of dollars just by pricing it at such a low price. But yeah, they want as many people to play it as possible, so that's
yeah.
it's great. Okay. That's all the topics I have for now. But I want to move on to something else here. So, over the last couple of weeks, my roommate and I have done a watch through of every single currently released Monsterverse movie. That being the Godzilla and King Kong movies.
Hmm.
And after watching all five of them, I just wanted to just go over what I believe is my personal ranking of these movies from
Okay.
worst to best. Have you? Which ones have you not seen?
I'll be honest. You said five, and I was like, "Oh, there's five." So hold on. Let me.
Let me just go over them real quick. It's Godzilla
Okay.
2014, Kong Skull
Right.
Island, Godzilla
Okay.
King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong, and then Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
Okay. Yeah.
Which have you not seen?
I saw Skull Island. I saw King of the Monsters and versus Kong. Yeah. Okay, I think I've seen 4 out of 5. I don't think I saw the first Godzilla one. I think I've seen 4 out of 5.
So you did end up seeing The New Empire?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So cool. That's fine. I think the one you missed is probably the least consequential, but we'll get to that in just a
Fair.
second because it's not my number five. My number five is Godzilla versus Kong. Um,
Really?
this movie does not hold up on rewatch. This movie is kind of nonsense. Like they they this movie very clearly is a movie where they had like two action scenes on a board somewhere, and then we're like, okay, so we gotta fill in the gaps with nonsense in between there just to get to them
Yes.
fighting. It doesn't matter what happens. The humans characters can just kind of say whatever, just do whatever. The plot doesn't have to make sense. Just get them to fight. But you, the audience, still has to have to wade through an hour and 50 minutes of people just kind of saying random stuff for no reason. Like a villain who has literally zero motivation to do what he's doing. He and the movie's even self-aware about it to almost like annoying degree because when when he's like about to give his big speech about why he's doing what he's doing, like he, his speech wasn't even like almost making sense. It was just like he was just kind of saying
Like
cliches,
what?
and then Mechagodzilla got him, and then the like drunk black guy, I don't remember his name, the like
Mhm.
podcaster guy, he like he made a joke or quip is like, oh, I kind of wanted to hear that speech. It's like, so the movie even acknowledges that like it doesn't like really
Movie
matter what he's
stupid.
like. But yeah, like you could literally cut that entire subplot from the entire movie, and you would cut out 25 minutes of nothing, and nothing would change because literally
Yeah,
the
because
only thing they do is disconnect Mecha Godzilla from the satellite for half a second. That doesn't even meaningfully change the fight.
and that's the thing with kind of all these movies, because it's like literally they're all like the people we talk about this, but like the people scenes, the like all this and that, all like the villain's not really the villain. I mean, he is, but like the villain is more like, hey, Godzilla's going destroying stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's not really like, oh, conflict with this individual. It's more like, oh wow, that's a giant skyscraper sized lizard that's going
Mm,
ape.
yeah.
That's the conflict.
Going ape against an ape. And even the fights themselves on rewatch, they're just not as, I don't know, something about it isn't as good as I remember them being. Um, I don't know, like they're not bad. It's just I don't know, like it's especially after already seeing it. Like I think in my head I thought it was like more dynamic than it actually was. It's just like it's fine. Like it if that fight were the entire movie, if the entire movie were just that 5 minute scene in Hong Kong, like I probably watched that YouTube video a couple of times, but I wouldn't like I don't think is good enough to warrant the nonsense we had to wade through because the first fight of them in the water, they specifically are like, oh, it's fine that we're taking this route kind of like through the Atlantic Ocean because we know for a fact that this is or like or somewhere like because we know for a fact that this is this is not Godzilla's turf. Even though I thought we established in the last movie that Godzilla's turf is now the entire planet and he can literally swim through
Right?
underground tunnels to get anywhere he wants as fast as possible. So you can't be certain that he's not going to show up. So then when he shows up, their immediate next thought is, oh, we could just airlift him to where we need to go. Why didn't you do that in the first place? Just to be safe. Like the one thing we're trying to avoid here is Godzilla and Kong meeting, and you're not doing everything in your power to avoid that. That's just it's just
Like,
a
what are
bunch
we
of bad
doing?
for an hour and a half.
Which, like, yeah, because obviously if they did get Godzilla to like not be there, it's lame. But it's just like, why are we? I don't know. I feel like I understand. I don't know. Like we said, like I know I've said before. It's like if the movies were just 45 minutes and was only focused on the monsters, I feel like it'd be way better.
Yes, which we'll get to a movie that's basically that in a bit, and that movie is rules. So yeah, like it was definitely the least enjoyable viewer experience watching Godzilla X Kong, or sorry, versus Kong.
Hmm.
And number four is the 2014 Godzilla. This one,
Okay.
this one, legitimately, there's like a 30-minute block in the middle of this movie where I genuinely forgot what movie I was watching because neither Godzilla nor the Mutos show up in that entire 30-minute block. So I'm like, what are we doing? What are we like Aaron Taylor Johnson is a fine enough actor, but he's not going to carry this entire movie. Like they keep cutting back between him and Elizabeth Olsen, which is very funny. They're playing uh like husband and wife in this movie. And the very next year they played siblings in Age of Ultron, but whatever. Um, like it keeps like kind of cutting between them, and then like it just doesn't really feel like story was progressing. And then like the Mudos, like the I don't even know what kind of what they looked like the big evil monsters of the movie, like they pop up and attack every now and then, but not frequently enough. And then the first time Godzilla like actually shows up to like actually fight something is an hour into this movie, and then a door closes, the scene ends, and we just see like a little snippet of it on the news. Like that's what we're here for. Why didn't we get more of that? And then we had to wait another 30 plus minutes before Godzilla shows up again to like actually do the final battle. So Godzilla is barely a presence in this entire movie.
Which is weird because it's just Godzilla, and yet he is not in the movie.
Yeah. And in one of the most ridiculous scenes, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, he is specifically a bomb technician. He didn't really like see a lot of combat. It was like very well established. Like, yeah, he had training, but he wasn't like a war guy. Like he wasn't like on the front lines. Like he was more of a like he was like well, he worked with like, machinery and bombs and that kind of thing. And then in order to like get him with the rest of the team to light some charge to destroy the Muto eggs or whatever, um, they did a halo drop into the city, which is a thing you like have to like specifically train a good amount of your life to learn how to do. I don't think a bomb technician would necessarily know how to do that. He did it. It worked out for him.
Yeah.
It was just I don't know like his escorts of I know they're not like named characters, so this is how this is literally their function in the movie, but like his escorts as they're falling are getting picked off by the Mutos and by debris and stuff. Like the guys who trained for this are dying, and you're just gonna land fine. Okay. um, let me think. Oh yeah. I really liked the 10 minutes that Bryan Cranston is in this movie.
He is?
Yeah, this is the first movie he was in after Breaking Bad ended, and most of the advertising for this movie was about him, like was about like Bryan Cranston is like the main focus of all the trailers, and he's dead within the first 30 minutes of the movie. Like I liked his character fine enough. Like I think he played like a good like his character was good, but it didn't. I don't know why you would focus so much on him in the advertising. I know why, because he's one of the biggest working names at the time. But like
Why spend so
the
much time on a character who's only going to be in the first 30 minutes of your movie?
yeah, and then the other half of the advertising that wasn't about Bryan Cranston were the two scenes Godzilla was kind of in. So, like when all of your advertising it amounts to maybe 20 minutes of an almost 2 hour movie, I could kind of understand why people don't necessarily like think super fondly on this movie just because your first time seeing it, you're expecting it to be something that it's didn't really end up being.
Well, yeah, you're expecting, hey, it's Godzilla, and like, oh, hey, there was kind of Godzilla in there somewhere, and then a little bit at the end. It's like Godzilla's that person who like shows up to the party late, but then does like one big thing and then leaves out early. But so it's like you can tell he was there, but he was so few and far between. You kind of didn't feel it. So
Yeah. And the first time you like actually get a like actual Godzilla reveal, I believe we timed it. It was 46 minutes into the movie. There's
oh
like little
gosh.
teases here and there, but we won't like really get like a full Godzilla until over 40 minutes in. They don't really actually see him like start to fight something until 20 minutes later. Then you don't actually see him like actually fight something until almost an hour later. However, I think the Godzilla in this movie is probably my favorite depiction of the character. I just really like the way he moves. I like his roar the best. I like the way his powers work the best. Um, I just think his size was like I don't need Godzilla to be like bigger than every building in the city, but like he's still pretty big. Um, and like I don't know, I just yeah, I think this Godzilla like the parts of the movie he was in, I think he did a good job of representing what Godzilla should be doing. I just wish he was in it a little bit more.
Mhm.
Yeah. And luckily, for my number three, he was in King of the Monsters quite a bit more. This
Good, as he
movie,
should be.
this movie rules. Like, there is a massive gap between Godzilla 2014 and King of the Monsters. Um, I think this movie, even maybe even to a worse extent, has the same problem that Godzilla versus Kong has, where the plot is nonsensical. The villain makes absolutely no sense. Her motivation is like makes negative sense. Like
Negative
it's
sense.
the thing where like if she didn't do what she did in the movie, her like so her if you remember correctly, her goal or like her proposed goal is, oh, I'm gonna unleash Ghidorah and he'll control the
Hmm.
other Titans, and somehow that will fix the planet.
Which makes no sense at
No.
all.
But then by the end of the movie, after Godzilla became King of the Monsters, the after credits, like as the credits are rolling, like you see newspaper clippings being like, "Oh, the planet is fixing itself because Godzilla restored order to the planet." Like you could have just had him do that.
But also, it's like, I mean, but it's also kind of like, what makes you think that's actually going to even work? Like,
I don't
that
know.
doesn't,
Like, oh,
I don't
we
know.
like, oh, it's actually okay that we're killing a good portion of the Earth's population through multiple giant monster attacks around the planet because actually humans are the real problem, and they, like we need to get actually killing most of the humans would be okay. It would help the planet because the monsters are they were here first, so they should reclaim it. But like, what's the point of fixing the plane if no humans here to see it?
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, are we just gonna accept that we're gonna all die? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it's a terrible situation regardless, but it's still weird, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, and like this movie is a lot of people in rooms just kind of talking about doing things, and then they may or may not actually do that thing, and then a monster attack happens, and then people talk
Mm-hmm.
about doing things in a monster attack. At least the monster attacks are more frequent and bigger and grander and just overall a lot better than in Godzilla. Um, yeah, like the fight in the Arctic, I think like the way the colors of the snow and the ice and that contrasted very well with Godzilla's blue and Ghidorah's yellow. Um, and I really like that they added a couple of other monsters on there too, with Rodan and also Mothra there in the climax. Um, yeah, like everything outside of the human plot was really cool, actually. Like King Ghidorah just looked just massive and imposing. Um, the CG on everything was like like I said, I think the way Godzilla was depicted in the first one might be my favorite version of him, but just looks like visually, I think he looked the best in this movie. Um, yeah, I I wouldn't like sit down and just like rewatch most of this movie. Definitely fast forward a good bit of it. But as far as like the parts that had giant monster attacks, those are those are really good. Nothing made up for the first Godzilla.
Okay. So I might rewatch that King of the Monsters then, because I don't know. I didn't realize, maybe I didn't notice it, or maybe I was like distracted, but I'm like, maybe, yeah, I didn't go,
Do
probably
you
went a
not
lot harder than I thought.
do you not remember really liking it that much?
I don't remember disliking. I kind of just remember thinking the parts that don't have people in it are great.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Which is like, it's just like, I know, like, I get that it's like, oh, we have to like pay actors and like do something, but I feel like it should be one of those things where you just get a bunch of no-name actors. They kind of just run around, and then, I mean, honestly, you could do a movie like this with just extras,
I don't. Yeah.
and with the money you save on acting salaries, probably just make better CGI, and then,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Like it just generic. If there's the military has to be involved or whatever monarch is, you could just be
Hmm.
just generic military people. It doesn't have to be any like actual anyone special. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Which kind of speaking on that, um, there's one completely random scene in Godzilla versus Kong where Lance Reddick shows up. He
Huh?
says three words and then isn't in the movie anymore. Like Coach Taylor is
What?
over there in Hong Kong watching the. That I couldn't be asked to remember his name.
No,
That's how
you're
I know.
right. I know. I love Kyle Chandler, but yes, he will always be Coach Taylor first.
He's over there in Hong Kong somehow, even though last time we saw him he was in Florida. He's over in Hong Kong somehow, watching the Mechagodzilla fight happen, and Lance Reddick is just next to him. He says three words, and then it doesn't cut back to them for the rest of the movie. So clearly there was some subplot with Coach Taylor that involved Lance Reddick that was cut because that was apparently the part they thought was least necessary, even though there's a
Yeah,
lot of other human parts that weren't necessary.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, so we just abandoned that? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. It's like I kind of hope a good portion of your budget didn't go to Lance Reddick. Okay. Um, not even deserve it. I just feel like he should be in the movie more if you're gonna Pan, whatever you pin him, but whatever. Um, okay, so moving from Godzilla King of the Monsters, we're gonna tick up slightly to Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna throw one negative first. I'm gonna have mostly positives after that. If you were to watch Godzilla King of the Monsters and go directly into Godzilla X Kong, you might genuinely think that you're watching two different franchises of movies because just the way things move in Godzilla X Kong is so drastically different from the previous movies. Like
Mm.
in King of the Monsters and especially Godzilla, the like Godzilla, his movements are very slow and methodical and deliberate. Like you really feel like these giant monsters like are in fact, giant monsters because you're seeing it from the perspective of the people for the most part. But then when you get to Godzilla X Kong, because the vast majority of the movie is literally from Kong's perspective, despite Godzilla being top billing apparently. Like it's mostly from the monster's perspective. The way Godzilla moves, it's almost as if they're kind of trying to replicate the old like guy in a suit Godzilla from the 50s and 60s. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Mm.
originally, like the way Godzilla moved, he literally looked like a person running around, like literally doing uppercuts and like running like Godzilla shouldn't be able to run like that. Not that it was bad, it was just clearly a different approach than the some of the previous movies, and it was just a little jarring, but
Hmm.
not bad. Just when you watch them so close
Different.
back to back, you're like, oh, that's feels a little
That's
weird.
noticeable.
Yeah. Not to mention Godzilla is just 100% just tacked onto this movie for literally no reason. This movie could have just been Kong: A New Empire, and it wouldn't have really changed anything because
Yep.
like the only reason Godzilla is in this movie is because they decided to give the Scar King his own pet Godzilla monster. If they didn't have that parallel, they would have no reason for Godzilla to exist in this movie. Because every single like major plot element is about Kong. It's about Kong, existing in the Hollow Earth, just belonging for families, getting kind of bored, just doing whatever there. And then the villain is another big ape ape creature.
Yeah.
And like every now and then we'll cut back to Godzilla. Like, oh, Godzilla senses that something big's about to happen, so he needs to he needs to like randomly kill this other Titan, which I thought all the Titans were living in harmony so they could like fix the Earth or whatever. So like, I guess Tiamat is you don't need him anymore, so we're just gonna kill him and then take his power or whatever. Um, so we can just kind of keep periodically cutting back to him kind of doing nothing until the climax happens. So if like you literally could remove Godzilla's scenes from the movie and nothing really would change. Um, but it was still cool seeing him in the movie. It's not complaining. It's just clearly they wanted to make another Kong movie, but the Godzilla brand was so strong at that point. They're like, no, we need Godzilla and Kong, even though it's a Kong
Right.
movie. Um,
Because it brings more people in, you know?
yeah. Um, but yeah, you mentioned earlier that they really should just make a movie that's mostly monsters just doing whatever with other big monsters, and like there is a significant portion that is just Kong meeting the other Kong people, fighting with them, just trying to figure out how to exist down there, run like just there's a good portion, there's like long portions that are humanless, and I really appreciate that.
Yes.
And honestly, I think the human subplot in this movie might be the second strongest of the entire franchise, behind the number one we'll get to in just a second. But
Mm.
like they are focusing on the characters I believe that were the most annoying from Godzilla versus Kong, but I think they were overall more compelling here, not like completely compelling, but more compelling here. And then the newer side characters they added were fine. They weren't like they were whatever. Um, but yeah, like the all of the action I thought was top notch. Uh, like I said, it wasn't as slow and methodical. It didn't like feel as impactful as King of the Monsters. But if you just take this movie as like, oh, it's basically just like a Marvel movie at this point, it feels the action feels kind of in that same like superhero action realm, and I think that's okay considering the movie is more so from Kong's perspective. Like it doesn't like
Hmm.
need to be all slow and methodical if everything is scaled to him, that's just how he would move. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So wait, okay, so they kind of give Godzilla something to do. Does he come back in the end, or is he like?
Did you say I think did you say you saw this one?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry. These kind
Yeah,
of
he does.
he like,
He
but like,
eats Tiamat and then like hides in this cocoon for a little bit, like gaining his power, and then pops out of it. Now he's Godzilla has like pink scales, and then somehow finds a way down to the Hollow Earth, and then him and no. Kong comes up to get Godzilla because he knows he needs Godzilla's help to fight
right.
Scar King. Um, they have a little squabble, and then they go down there to fight, and they come back up chasing Scar King up to Rio, I think, and then beat him up. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I still
but
think
the
Scar
most
King.
important thing.
I still think Scar
Okay.
King maybe could have been a little bigger, like literally like taller, because I don't know, he just didn't feel like that as impressive as a villain as I was hoping for a Godzilla and Kong movie. I know he had the giant other lizard that was even almost twice the size of Godzilla, but I don't know. I kind of feel like he was just a little too lanky to really feel like a that big of a threat. But overall, I think this movie just a very fun time that I never really got bored with it like I did with the first Godzilla. The human plot line was overall way more enjoyable than the ones before this. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, like I think you could just kind of drop it and watch it just on its own. Like I don't think you need.
Yeah, just yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, these don't. Because the storylines aren't really that connected anyway, right? They
Like
kind of
there's
just
it's kind of like
like
one
kind of
seems like one character kind of like springs kind of like between them, but it's not the same character. Because Coach Taylor was in King of the Monsters and then Godzilla versus Kong, and then that lady with the deaf child who are on Kong's side, she is in the New Empire. So like there are through line characters, but I don't think you need their story from the movie before to like understand this one.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, what I genuinely believe is the best movie in the Monsterverse, mostly because I genuinely believe this is just a really, really good movie in its own right. Kong Skull Island is a genuinely phenomenal film. Like, it's kind of to the point where I'm kind of surprised I don't hear more people talking about just how good it is. Like, the fact that they made this movie in 2017 and the feel, just the way it's shot, the way the color is, just the way there's like this subtle filter over the entire movie genuinely makes it feel like an early 2000s or even a 90s movie. Like it feels like it's almost from a different era, and I really like that, especially since it is set in the 70s. Like I kind of like it feeling a little older. Every single character in this movie is meaningful, relatable. You almost kind of dread the fact that you know that most of them are gonna die before the end of this. Um, like they all kind of have their thing, but it's not just like their only thing. Like it genuinely feels like so a lot of movies they don't really feel lived in. It just a lot of movies do this thing where like two characters who clearly know each other, but because the movie hasn't told you they know each other yet, they gotta have some exposition that like tells the audience like, oh, like they like reference something from the past or have to like slot in like, oh, no brother of mine would be the or just like mention like how
Yeah,
they know each other. Like,
they have to like go out of their way, or it wouldn't even come up.
yeah, but this movie felt extremely lived in. Like the little military troop just felt like they had been on 12 other missions before this. Sam Jackson's character, you don't like really you're not even like given all of his information, but you still, I think, like you just completely understand like, he was a general in the Vietnam War. He is just kind of jaded at the fact that they basically surrendered. Like they basically, they just stopped fighting and he just can't give that up. So now that you know, he kind of like views Kong kind of as an allegory for the war. That like I cannot give this up. I will do everything I can to beat this new adversary, and it ends up killing him. Like I think that is a very cool through line. Um, I like how they kind of have Brie Larson's character. Like it's not the same as like the woman that Kong usually like takes up to the top of the Empire State Building and or whatever. Like it's not quite the same, but like there still is that one you know uh, woman character in a Kong story who Kong like kind of imprints on. Um, I, I think she played that character well, but she again it's more than just that. Her and Tom Hiddleston just their chemistry in this movie was phenomenal. uh, like the CG on like those big spider creatures, on the skull crawlers, on Kong himself, just seeing
Looks
him just
pretty
like
good.
seeing him silhouetted against the sun as they first getting into the island is just a spec. Like it's one of those movies that I honestly do kind of wish I had seen in theaters because I think that would just make the
Mhm.
experience even better. So yeah, I like if you were only ever going to watch one movie in this series, definitely make it
Skull
Kong
Island.
Skull Island.
Okay. Well, I might rewatch that one first, so I know the bar.
Mm. It's also not necessary that you watch any of the other movies before or after it because it's
No,
set
they're
well
not
before the
connected.
first Godzilla. It like kind of references something that might happen in Godzilla King of the Monsters, but I think that's kind of contrived and kind of tacked on at the very very end just as a teaser that didn't need to be there. Honestly, kind of like
Hmm.
messes with the lore a little bit because in Godzilla they're people who are seemingly in the know that don't know things that should because of the whatever. Ignore the after credit scene. Uh, everything else that happens in this movie is more or less a standalone thing that you don't like need any prior or future knowledge of any of the other movies. And like, yeah, I think it's just a genuinely very well made, good movie that I'm kind of surprised that that director wasn't given more to do in this franchise, but oh well.
Hmm. Yeah, no, these movies. I mean, again, I think less is more with the like people conflicts, and then when they focus on just raw action, CGI looking good, and like it doesn't have to make a lot of sense. We're here to watch fictional monsters fight each other. That is
Yep,
all.
absolutely. Okay. I think that's everything I have. Looking forward to Demon Slayer, that movie coming out next weekend.
Yeah, I was
Gonna
about to
see
say,
that.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
coming out on Friday. Have you caught up with everything?
I have 3 or 4 episodes left of the last season, which I'll easily be able to
Okay.
finish by then. Yeah.
Perfect, man. I'm so excited. I'm a little I don't want to say like bummed. I'm a little sad. It's 3 movies over 6 years makes me a little sad because I feel like that's a long time to stretch that out. But I'm also like,
Are there be any more seasons, or is it just the
to
movie
my
pretty much?
knowledge, no. This is it. Like just 3 movies in a row, and then that's like the whole show.
Yeah.
That's it. So, which makes sense because the premise essentially is like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
So, very exciting. Very like, I mean, the trailer looks so good animation wise. So I'm like, going in IMAX, gonna be amazing. I've been waiting for this for a while, so really excited. The music score is
Yeah.
incredible. Oh, I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else you want to bring up or discuss before we sign off?
That's all I've got today.
All right. So with that, we will see you all next time.
Take care.